stream. I'm not too sure if it will capture the first part of this video, so I will repeat myself when more people do come along, because it always seems to cut out the first part, as I always say, because I never know when exactly it starts recording, whether it's at 00 mark or not. Apologies about the hair. The hair's clean, but it's not looking too good at the moment. So I did a short clip earlier announcing this live stream. I also did a community post on my channel. So hopefully the reach is about and people do manage to find the live stream. Getting a bit warm already. 3 people have joined, which is really good to see. Hopefully the title of the video is enough to get the presence of people. We got Vintage Danny. Is Kenny found? Well, previously speaking, there is material to suggest he has been found, but more so caught on camera. And I made sure to use the question mark in the title of my video. In terms of what I've done, I looked back over Susan Veach, sister-in-law to Kenny Veach. And as for Susan, she has a YouTube channel. Just like anyone on YouTube that comments, you need an account, a channel, to be able to interact with people's videos. And that's basically what has happened. And she has uploaded videos with time. So is Susan uploading videos in regard to her thoughts on the case and what she believes, or more so strongly believes, as in Kenny Veach is alive, Kenny Veach staged, faked his disappearance, and certain family members agreed to an extent. I want to kind of like briefly relay some of Susan's community post from her YouTube channel, showing my thoughts and reactions to it and what I know of, what I've previously covered to some extent, and see if we can reach a conclusion or a certain spot where there's a consensus with people. And if not, that's all good. Just be sure to share your thoughts and comments in the live chat, wherever it is on the screen for you, whether you got questions, answers, theories, ideas, anything like that, it's all welcome. And speaking of which, welcome to currently the 10 people that have joined this live stream. We're looking at the points, the claims by Susan, and then on behalf of other people as well, like the daughter to Kenny, Vicky Veach, the nephew to Kenny, Hunter Veach, what they have said previously in regard to Kenny and the CCTV footage, and then some other little details here and there, observations by Susan, my reaction to it, and even some little points about the M Cave hike, the vibrations, what Kenny experienced. He's not the only one to have felt vibrations, and I think that's really prominent, that. So if anyone does join late, you can always rewind back, and if anyone needs a recap or a quick heads up as to what's been talked about earlier on in this live stream, I can do that. And for those watching on catch up, hopefully you do find this video interesting. At this moment, we are currently live. So we got Nanny Studios Entertainment. Welcome to the live. I do remember you. They say, Raf, I remember Susan's comments. She was saying Kenny was found, was weird. Yeah, I think there might have been times where Susan was quite bold with her words, her statements. Kenny found, Kenny this, Kenny that. And I can understand it from her point of view and perspective. If she knows more, she's going to word it differently to people that may not know the full story. For someone like me, I knew bits and bobs and the material that I came across with time, but I'm also worded it as there is material, there is evidence to suggest he's alive, to suggest he was caught on camera up to a certain point. If you have evidence or material of Kenny caught on camera, face, voice, the whole lot, and it's 2018 or 2020, 2022, you can say it suggests he's still alive up to that point. As for onwards, unknown. Kenny might have been alive up to the year of 2022, may have passed away since, but would we ultimately know? Would we ever hear about it? Likely not. Because the fact that the search for Kenny Veach yielded no big public announcement, no clear details publicly given, then what hope is there in figuring out, is Kenny still alive till this day or not, besides the whole desert mystery? Welcome to the 21 people that have joined along this live stream. Really positive to see, much appreciated. The live stream is kind of early, so I understand the time zone difference and all of that, but I just do it because it's practical around this time for me. But yeah, big shout out to everyone that is watching at this moment in time. If you want to hit the thumbs up or share the live stream so more people get to see it, that'll be good. And very shortly, I can get into the bullet points. We got Danny, the goat. That's good, that. Danny, don't be making me do any Indian accents tonight. I'll probably scare people off. Well, I'll just quickly catch up with the comments. Nanny, she didn't elaborate where Kenny technically is. That might be a pattern with some people in cases. Not just this particular one, but even true crime. People will give a certain statement, they might know more, but they don't give enough explanation. The Noah Presgrove case, true crime, where people kept saying, you know, if people told the truth from day one, we would get answers now that they know, that they told us, or they told me, and I know the confessions and the truth in the background. It's like, who is they? Who is she, he, who you're talking about? And they don't elaborate. They want you to believe in it, but they won't make it clear for you to understand. So how can you be expected to believe in it? It's like signing a contract blind and it's in Braille and you don't know how to read that. It's like, how's that fair on you? Evidence, hard evidence, needs to be provided along the way. And even if it's not good enough, an effort made is better than nothing. That's kind of like what I've done with time. If I'm going to say Kenny Veach is alive or could be, there needs to be a photo, a video, audio, something like that. And that has been documented on my channel already. But then there are other people out there that have tried or claimed this and that, and they're not really backed up the same way. Nanny, or she was mistaken by the fake really robbing video of an Indian guy in India. Not that one again. You're going to set Danny off in a second. Or Kenny Veach from India. That is wonderful. So the one from India, I think it was long awaited by really Robin, the fake one that was milking it and dragging it out, finally released a photo of a person in India, and it didn't look like Kenny. Maybe the hairline, but the face, no. It looked more like Mr. Bean gone to India. Oh, Danny, no. Nah, I won't. A bit too late, Danny. Bit too late. We've already got into it. Anyway, vintage. Has anyone smashed down the mini cave like that Libera Sean looked? Liberation. I keep saying that wrong. Liberation Sean looked at way back. Okay, good question, vintage. As a heads up, yes, there was some form of activity. Some months ago, Driven X Adventures did put in a little snake or something thin, as in a camera, into one of the cracks. I couldn't see it clearly on screen because it wasn't like on screen of when you're looking through the monitor. It was through the camera, as in a camera looking at a screen, a small one, and I couldn't quite see it. But supposedly they were saying it's shallow and it was debunked and it's natural. However, what happened in between 2019 and 2022 is quite interesting, vintage. Basically, the upper top right dark heavy rock, more so a boulder, was removed. It was firmly in place when Sean was there trying to budge and shove it. It was wedged in, okay? It was quite secure. 2019 onwards, at some point, a person had gone there, or people, and pried it off. Landed on the floor, maybe they gave up, but no one has come forwards. No one ever owned up to doing it. You could say, maybe because no one wants to get in trouble. At the end of the day, Scott Natal recorded himself and uploaded publicly of him taking items, relics, whatever you want to call it, from the mine shaft. And there's rules that say you're not allowed to take anything from the desert. You need to keep it in place. Yet Scott recorded it and uploaded it online. Then some other channel, I think it's Off the Trail, uploaded a video of them using a drone above the mine shaft. You know, the reality is you're not allowed to use drones out there unless you've got special clearance. So people have broken rules and laws, uploaded it publicly, and not got punished for it. So for other people to maybe move a rock, is it the end of the world? Maybe people have just been very cautious. But then it adds that question of, are there any rogue hikers out there? People that are trying to uncover the truth or hide the truth, cause misdirection, tamper with something. The fact that it looks like it has been removed by a human because it's heavy, it's firm, it's in place, and it's no longer there because it's on the floor and it's quite a big boulder. A person has done the Kenny Veach hike route loop and has covered quite some distance to actually get to Picture Canyon. Whether they went north and over Wild Horse Pass, then left west to Picture Canyon, or they went up Picture Canyon and then came back down Picture Canyon, which might not take as long. But then again, going up Picture Canyon could be harder than going down because of the descent that way. Someone has gone out of their way, or some people have, to investigate that covered cave, supposed covered cave, but never admitted online. Driven says, welcome, Driven. If you like, I'll redo the recording. So just as a heads up, Driven, in terms of that little camera that you were using and then that screen, the screen, how do I word it? Maybe it's my vision, because the screen being small and the sunlight and the glare, I'm not too sure if it made it a bit hard to see. I could see it's black, dark inside, but in terms of the true depth or the lack of depth, it wasn't quite visible. Maybe that's just a me problem compared to other people. Because it's a camera looking at a camera screen, if I'm correct in saying. But yeah, that's just a heads up. But in fairness, it's good that Driven X Adventures did put a camera inside because it was always needed. All I would say, just as a suggestion, Driven X Adventures, if you haven't already done it, okay, next to that supposed covered cave on the right, which is in between the covered cave on the left and then that prominent M-shaped shallow cave on the right. In the middle is just a misshaped shallow cave, but the back wall has a hole like that, supposedly caused by bees or insects chewing the rock wall, but it's created almost a perfect hole. In terms of the depth of that would be interesting if a camera was inserted into that hole. It didn't record on the SIM card. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, if you haven't already driven, if you wanted an idea or a concept, if you haven't already, that shallow cave just on the right next to the supposed covered cave where that hole is, the keyhole, which it's regarded as, if that little camera was shoved into there, that would be interesting to know the depth, you know, what goes on inside of that mountain, if anything. Welcome to anyone else that has joined along. Much appreciated. I'll just have a quick catch up with the comments before I continue on. Apologies about that, Maddie. Forgot to mention that. Warlight Raf, how is it, brother? I'm doing okay. How are you, Maddie? Reaper, I hope we know why he went missing. So welcome, Reaper, to the channel. Why would Kenny go missing? Why would he disappear? By choice or out of his own control? It's a general question, that umbrella brackets it can fall under, as for all the reasons and factors as to why he would go missing, disappear, and all the reasons as to why he would go missing out of his own control. Maybe someday could do like a storyboard or a sheet of paper or something on screen with all the different bullet points to suggest. What else do we have? Even though we kept searching for clues about him, we only have more questions every time we go there. More questions than ever. I create quite a few of those questions because I didn't question it in the past because my mental capacity wasn't the same as it is now. Through other stuff that I've covered and done in between, it's led to more stamina, more questioning, just on a much deeper level. Like, you know, people may have a mindset of a basement. My mind is like an abyss. It can keep on going, or more so nowadays it can. But there are positives to more questions than answers. It's better that than things being completely flat, dead, and there's nothing else to question. You know, when you hit that brick wall, it can always happen, and it has happened with other cases, true crime, mystery, missing person. But if you can keep on going and going and going, maybe to some people it could feel like, oh, it's not going anywhere, not enough progress. But indirectly, there's progress in thinking, progress in questioning, progress in picking up on more stuff down the line. Whether there's answers to it or not, the questions are out there, and the ball is in whoever's caught to provide those answers, if ever. As long as the questions are put out there, maybe at some point the answers can follow and maybe overlap with time. Oh God, two comments have showed up at the same time. We got TML Zombie, welcome. That's a good username, quite interesting. We got Meanie Shannon, welcome. Welcome to the channel. They say, have you reviewed his ex-girlfriend's post? And what do you think about those? I saw a recent from 2025. Okay. So, Meanie Shannon, are you saying that the girlfriend or the ex-girlfriend has been active in 2025? Because if so, that's very interesting. She has been quiet since. In terms of the girlfriend, ex-girlfriend known as Sharon Pilgrim, was more active in the past, has comments on her channel, videos about Kenny, and also more so on Kenny's hike video. And the only reason why it still shows in the comment section quite high up is because it's one of the most liked comments, as you would expect. It gains the interest of people that see it. The last time I checked, there was over 700 replies. Now, the ex-girlfriend mentioned some very important points later on in that thread. However, so many comments to look through, it's difficult to trace it all. But I do remember that girlfriend of Kenny, or ex, stated Kenny's normal camcorder left at the house. So he didn't take it to record his hike. But a different camera was missing from the house. So likely he took that. Would a suicidal person take an alternative camera? To do what with it if you're not intending on returning back? Jeff Clark, welcome. EJ Ball, welcome to the live. Good that you're present. And of course, a family of 6, welcome. Says, could this merely be an elaborate ruse filled with what-ifs and questionable doubt? Could Kenny simply have wanted a new life and this was his eccentric excuse to keep his name into people's mouths? I've been following this case for years with so many questions. That's good. It's good that you've been around for quite some time. And for the other people that watch in the background as well. Jeff, unfortunately, all the women in this case are loonies. Does that apply to Artari as well? I mean, in fairness, both genders are as bad as each other when it comes to these cases. Not everyone, but certain people, and they do stand out. Some people tend to be overly emotional. Major problem in these cases. It slows things down. Wailing banshee screams just cloud the room and thoughts. It's its own way of misdirection. We got Joel Colgrove, welcome. Good evening, welcome to the channel. Jeff, no, Atari is the sanest one. Really? Interesting. Because let me tell you something. I'm not telling you off, Jeff Clark. I'm just talking in general. Welcome to anyone else who's joined along. Atari did important research over time, right? And then she deleted it or privatized it. What good does that do? You put the effort and work in, and then you cover up the supposed truth. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Atari is the one that got attacked at one point. I, the catalyst, spent 45 minutes making a video defending them, and then down the line, due to evolutionary competitiveness and territorial behavior, primal instinct, just because of the intel that I got from Susan Veach, which Atari had in the background, which was gatekeeping it at a point at a time, because I was told about it. In some ways, Atari either got, I don't know, disgruntled by it and had a go at me. And it's like, how dare you, or why release it? And it's like, well, it was said from the horse's mouth, which isn't you, it's the other person. And the thumbs up was as in it can be released. It is what it is. But, you know, despite me defending the person over and over again, it was thrown back in my face. And the fact that at one point Atari was in allegiance with, you know who, Jeff Clark, Bird Guts, Uno, Numero Uno, people like that continuously harassed me, damaged or tried to damage my reputation, and so on, and threats and misinformation. When you align yourself with that at some point, whether it be as a peacekeeper to save yourself or for other reasons, nevertheless, when it happens, it happens. Birds of a feather may flock together, but I don't want any part in that. And that's why when it came to true crime, and I saw the way people placed their allegiance to their masters, their cult leaders, and anything else in between, yeah, you're not getting the red carpet treatment after that. When people want to align themselves with such problematic people, they themselves may be good people, but somehow misaligned with the wrong group or the wrong crowd, but it's still a problem. If they're innocent, do they maintain that innocence when they align themselves with darkness? Not always. It can be ripped from you. And in other times, it's because of the Black Widow effect kicks in, which is secret, embedded. True colours are finally shown, short-term, long-term. Let's not forget, and it's all documented, the time when Sean Horlacher was locked in with the case did really well, original catalyst, and then changed in behaviour because of the QAnon, the political stuff and all of that, then turned on me to some extent. All documented. And that is what I mean about behavioural changes within this case. Whether you're in real life hiking or you're investigating online, some people, regardless of gender, get locked in with the case. They change with behaviour with time. Strange changes of human behaviour, just like the title of this video, because some of Kenny Veach's family members at one point believed that Kenny was alive, believed in the CCTV footage, and then did a sudden 180 U-turn and changed in a different alternative view. What's going on? These sudden changes, there's got to be a reasonable explanation as to why things suddenly change. Let me catch up with the comments. Compare her to Sharon and Susan. It's hard to compare to Sharon Pilgrim because she doesn't communicate with us. But I get what you're saying, Jeff. Compared to Susan, but this is the thing, Susan and Atari got on well. And maybe even at a time of when Susan may have been after me, or not quite pleased with me, was okay with Atari. Strange changes. Just because I covered it from a different angle perspective, besides the whole Kenny is alive, I looked at the MK, I looked at the other mysteries within. And just because I changed direction, I got attacked, I got questioned. But look at the true crime community. Look at it from the light side. Look at it from the dark side. Oh, because I've covered more perspective than ever. Oh, now I'm biased. Now it's one-sided. What is going on with these mentalities? That's not happened the same way here, thankfully. In terms of being questioned, just because you look at it in a different light compared to the other things you've focused on, you can go back and forth. There's no harm in that. Jeff, Atari is very sensitive, but she reaches logical conclusions at most times. Atari used to attack me also over bullying Silverheels. Was that, like, serious of them? Raf, she defended those guys because she thought we were not giving them a chance. She told me that in emails. Jeff, is that so? We weren't giving them a chance. How dare cretins be given a chance when they're the ones to first initiate and make false claims about my channel and how I cover this case? Serious, slanderous claims and threats along the way. How dare any human expect to be given a chance when they act in such a wretched, cancerous way? When I see cancerous, disease-ridden humans, not literal, not physical, but more so psychologically speaking, I will not be treating them as a human. I'll be treating them as a patient. Dr. PhD Warlike Raff, PhD in whipology, thou shalt not whip unless needed. And I think there's some humans along the way that may require that, right? When it's under control, it's under control. But not everybody has it that way. So alternative methods are required. And the thing is with me, I don't forget, right? I can lock on, I can move on with other stuff, but I don't forget previous things, hence why, to some extent, history doesn't repeat itself. See, if we don't give people a chance, oh, we should give them a chance, what? Oh, so if I get attacked, if I get raped, oh, well, you know, they might change, they might become a better person. Bollocks, okay? Got to be focused at times. Forgive, forget, move on. You'll get screwed over and over again. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit strict. And people could say, yeah, but it's only a small scale thing. Exactly. Small scale things like the snowball effect, it can roll, it can build, it can get bigger. A series of small problems along the way can eventually become a much bigger issue, which equates to the same impact and damage as one big event. You pick up on it early, you tame it, you avoid it, you work around it, you'll be better off. Let's see what else has been mentioned. She also defended the fake really Robin. In terms of defending the fake Robin, I can understand that as in hopes of it being real. Whether you're naive or not, in hopes that it can yield some answers. But just for me, I felt it was BS from the start, but I wasn't going to dismiss other people. If you think it's real, that's fine, that's good. But I was just a bit cautious, and it turned out I was right in that case. Do I want to be right? No. It's better to be proven wrong, because at times when you expect to be right, it could be on a negative outcome. So if you're proven wrong and it turns out to be a positive outcome, it can be a nice surprise. What else? Well, Sean is different. He has been hammered over this case for years. But do you think, Jeff, that Sean's temporary behavioural change occurred not from the case of being hammered, but more so because of the whole political external stuff going on in the US and what they were involved in or interested in? Because it felt at one point the political stuff kind of crossed over into the Kenny Veach things, like a tornado effect. The Dylan Brown's case was just like that. Bit different, but pettiness, drama, grudges crossed over into a community about true crime, and it impacted the case indirectly. Welcome to anyone else that has joined along. Cleo, what is a Black Widow? It's very deep to explain. Jeff, Susan lied to Atari about that upcoming HLN show. Atari was misled about what that show was going to reveal. So Jeff, what was the lie? What was the promise? And what ended up truly happening? From my experience with Susan Veach, I remember her saying something along the lines of she's going to go on the show, reveal the truth, what she believes, the CCTV footage, the text messages and all of that, bits and bobs, to say about family members. Most of them believe Kenny was alive, was caught on CCTV footage. Maybe about a house here or there involved, or Kenny living temporarily elsewhere or in a basement, something like that. And then when the documentary was done or aired, or before it was aired, I remember Susan said to me that the documentary crew or the director ended up cutting out the most important parts of what Susan was going to say, so it was left out the documentary. And what was left in it was worded and done in such a way that it made her look bad. That's what she said, roughly in her own words. The documentary was edited and made to make her look like the crazy one. Which, who had the most power and control of that documentary? Collectively, the Veach family or the immediate family members? I'm not too sure personally. Jeff, true, political things diverted Sean. Exactly. And it's unfortunate because it was a good role. The live streams, what Sean was doing then was good. It was all working. It was stable. And unfortunately, kind of went upside down. I'm not going to dismiss what Sean has gone through. Harassment, threats in real life, dangers, what he's encountered. That's serious. It's important. If it changes a person, it does make sense. You may change to protect yourself, or you may change because of things out of your control. But if some things can be limited or controlled, as in not letting other life stuff or interest cloud the case, it can keep things a little bit more balanced, but it was too late in the end. Nearly at 50 people watching live. Big shout out to everyone that has joined along the way. Tonight, talking about the points from the daughter Vicky Veach, what she believed, to the nephew, to Susan Veach herself, with Kenny possibly being alive. What else do we have? Susan Veach told her that the show was going to solve everything. It solved nothing, but did provide some answers. From what I can remember, I don't remember the mention to me by Susan that it was going to solve everything. I think how it was worded to me by Susan was she was going to do her best to reveal it all, to get the truth out. Maybe for her to try and solve it, or for her to try and spread the awareness so then it can be solved. It depends on the language and wording, right? If Susan did say this documentary in general is going to solve the case, end of, why be given a heads up like that? As if, what, there's more that you don't know, but you'll find out in the public documentary. A public documentary before she first reveals privately that true groundbreaking information. You see what I'm saying? If Susan at one point truly trusted Atari more than strangers as in a documentary crew, you'd think that the secrets, the real groundbreaking truths would be revealed to Atari first, and then that truth put into the documentary to solve the case and to publicly spread the awareness. If you already trust someone and they trust you, and you've been told so much of the truth or the supposed truth, and then they then say, this documentary is going to solve the case in general, to you, you'd be thinking, well, everything that you've told me, what else is there? What else, and why can't it be shared? Why do I have to wait till the documentary, which is going to be public? If there's a level of trust, then the truth should be shared early, privately. Wasn't the case. What was said in the background was that just to be regurgitated in the documentary, and in hopes that that would be enough to solve the truth, the case. We've got Cavendish. Welcome to the channel, Cavan or Cave. Hey, I'm that idiot that left a nonsense message through symbology and not taking Kenny's words literally. I'm still new to this case, but watching your videos make it a whole lot interesting. Well, I'm glad Caven, or Cavan, however you say your name, I'm glad you find the videos interesting. I wouldn't say you're an idiot. No, not me. But anyway, we got Moren X. Welcome, Moren. Welcome to the channel. Any more Kenny sightings after the weed store? Well, the store you're referring to, that break in 2018, was actually a healing store, which is run by the sister Debbie Veach. I think the last supposed sighting was by Driven X Adventures some months ago that I believe came across Kenny Veach, or someone that sounded like Kenny. And I would say in my response, not visually, but just the voice alone, it did sound similar to Kenny. But in fairness, when it came to an older video in the past, some university professor lecturer who was bald, looked nothing like Kenny, sounded quite similar to Kenny. It can happen, right? Similarities and coincidences, but can you match a voice to a face and a face to a voice and it be directly Kenny or as close as possible? That might happen down the line. Jeff, Susan says that about every channel she shows up on. What? That she's going to solve the case. Reaper, after everything Susan was now doing all of this, now that's something to understand. Jeff, because that's what Susan does, she teases supposed evidence that never appears. From my experience in the early days, and maybe it was short-lived, when at times when Susan said there's evidence to support this or that, or what certain family members or relatives think of Kenny in the CCTV footage, their responses and so on, those screenshots were shared with me and then I did videos on it. Whether people believe in the screenshots or not, Susan did make an attempt to show a form of evidence and material to me to back up her point. But maybe for other people that didn't happen. And maybe for other points and claims, they weren't backed up with hard evidence. But then, what about this? What about when Sharon Pilgrim, Kenny's ex-girlfriend, that made a promise years ago, was it 2018 or onwards? At some point, Sharon Pilgrim said, soon I'm going to release some footage of Kenny Veach. It never happened. And then it ended up being released near or on the day of the documentary being released. And it's like, well, why time it? Or did she say, in 3 years' time, I'm going to release it? And it just happened that in 3 years' time, that documentary aired. And it's like, was it planned? Was it set up? The timing was very weird. Oh, we got Dale Shackley. Welcome, Dale. Got here late, no problem. Did his family say anything more about him being alive? Well, it's what the family have previously said. I'll get that in a second. I just want to acknowledge people's comments. Oh, Jeff says, Susan says they got her all wrong. So as in misunderstood, supposedly. More X. Okay, see, I suspected he was threatened and ran to keep friends and family safe and been hiding ever since. Fair enough. Make sure the chat's all on. Oh, we got June. Welcome, June, to the live. I'm not too sure if it was you, June, or somebody else said that they weren't able to make it, but if so, that's all good you hear. On Sharon's channel, the girlfriend, years ago, Susan kept asking her, why did you wait for 8 years to report him missing? Wait for 8 years? Oh, you mean wait for 7 to 8 days? A detective, I'm not sure of the name, is looking for her to speak about Kenny's life insurance. Is that so? See, from what I remember, what Susan said to me, that the original detective or police, Las Vegas Metro Police Department, LVEPD, were originally assigned on to Kenny's case and then kind of went cold, so it stopped, and then some new detective or new people had taken over at the time. Maybe one of them was called Holly or something. June, has anyone looked at Kenny's home video? I wondered about the skulls on his table. Did one look like the one in the mine? Yeah, so about that, June, I wouldn't say it's the same or similar. The one what I remember seeing, the skeleton that I saw was like a skeleton made out of, was it like dominoes? Those like little pieces with all the dots on, black and white. And Kenny had it laid on a table, slumped, bit of a desert type landscape, and he said, this, what did he say? He said, this skeleton or this man died gambling out in the desert. It sounds like it's foreshadowing Kenny. Driven says, I can tell you that Susan went silent when I was setting up an interview to do a one-on-one. Okay. When's the last time Susan was active? Probably, is it at least a month or two ago, maybe? As for the house video of Kenny, yeah, there's the odd bit that needs to be looked back into as for where he like gives hints and stuff. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to sit down in just a second because my back is aching just a little bit. Just put it there for a second. Just move that side. Jeff, oh, Driven X is in here. This could get interesting. Well, what I said to Driven X Adventures, Jeff Clark, is in regard to that little camera, if it was inserted into that keyhole cave, that could be interesting to check the depth of it. Jay Silverheels has gone up to that hole that one time, but unfortunately I think Jay Silverheels either deletes his videos, privatizes them, or the titles are obscure. And that is what the unfortunate thing is. And everyone has their own style within the Kenny Veach case, which is fine. But me personally, just as a heads up, a tip, if anyone was to do a hike or an investigation, a big video, a short one, in terms of the title, if there is a main event or a main theme of what you're investigating, include it in the title, it will make it easier to look back on and for other people. If you call it M Cave Hike, this hike, ravine hike, it is what it says on the tin, but it's vague, right? And if you go out multiple times, it's hard to track it all. I don't hike, of course, but when I do my analysis and reviews and really important videos and findings, I make sure that the titles are very specific and the thumbnails. I do that myself because I always go back over my old videos when I need to reuse my material or my content, right? To use again, because it is important. Easier for categorization, easier to find, like Jay Silverheels, who's that? J Chuck. The titles on those videos are very vague or a bit random, so it's really hard to find those videos again. That's why Silverheels' up close analysis of that hole, he didn't stick his finger in, he didn't look inside, I don't think, and he didn't have a camera to put in too. So it's unknown as in the depth. It might be natural, the hole, but how deep is it really? Does it reveal anything else? It's only because it's beside the supposed covered cave and then besides the prominent M cave, and it's in the hotspot area where Jeff Clark had those weird encounters. So it's worth acknowledging. Right, just put that over here for a second. And I'll just adjust the camera, just move it over here. There we go. Sorry about that. It's just because normally I stand up, but then it gets a little bit achy at times, more so the shoulders and back. So I thought if I just sit back here, you get a different view in a way. Welcome to anyone else that has joined, about 56 people watching, much appreciated. Just a heads up, so you do get an idea. These are like bullet points, right? The bullet point, it's reverse because of the front facing camera, the mirroring. It's just to keep track of what's been said and what's been mentioned. Jeff, Sharon is 75 years old now, a 19 age gap between Kenny and her, or was when together. Let me just catch up with the comments. We got the mayor. Welcome, mayor. The whole internet's just one bit grift on America. Dale, what about Sharon House in Munchie, IN? Anything more on that from Driven's video? I'm not too sure at this moment or time, but can acknowledge that. Sharon is an old hippie chick who moved out of Vegas for lower cost. It happens every day. Nothing mysterious about that. Okay. But what is mysterious is her deciding to report Kenny missing 7 days later. You report someone missing late, not often, and if you did, maybe because you're not worried in the first place, because you know what's up. Oh, there we go. ZX0, the biggest #1 membership gifter. I remember that time. It was like, I remember the streams, it was like glitching out when ZX0 was hitting those gifted memberships left, right, and center. But yeah, I remember ZX, key individual on the channel. Present during the Dylan Rounds case, I believe, and Kenny Veach. What else do we have? June, I also asked if someone is still making money off Kenny's channel. People are still posting. Which people? Dale, wait till you get old, lol, then you'll know aches. Well, if I'm feeling it now, I'm definitely screwed. 17 years, Raf. Oh, well, I thought we said 19, but nevertheless, it's still a big difference in fairness. Driven, I reached out by a lot of people who live in Munchie, but I cannot give out that personal information. We got Johnny. Welcome, Johnny. I remember you. Kenny Veach. I bet there is no cave. All a bunch of BS, as well as vibrations. Well, the vibration part, Johnny, Jeff Clark, who is a level-headed individual for most part of it, did feel vibrations or zapping at one point when out there. So besides Kenny, the fact that another person has experienced it, a level-headed individual, there's got to be something going on out there. But possibly for Jeff Clark to get zapped in a completely different area compared to Kenny Veach, what does that say about the general area and landscape if it's so spread apart from where one person gets zapped and then where another person feels vibrations? Is there a link or what? Is it multiple areas? And as I've said, even if Kenny Veach faked it, disappearance. If Kenny Veach lied about the M Cave, indirectly, other hikers have since been out there and have captured or caught weird mysteries on camera, audio, etc., or their own personal accounts and stories when out there. There's something going on out there, whether it links to Kenny or not, it's still a mystery, sub-mysteries, and it's growing with time. Meanie Shannon, thanks. She also reported him dead by suicide. What, as in on the official police report? I can't remember that actual part, but in terms of Sharon's belief, more an opinion, not a fact, that Kenny ended his life, there's that. You know what's really weird? The theme of ending one's life. YouTube is very touchy and sensitive about that. If you do a video on the theme of that, you'll get silenced, video age restricted, etc. The Rebecca Zahau case 2011, I think Asian or from the Philippines, a woman from Coronado, California or something, was found hanging, deemed as self-inflicted, but others believe there's more to it. I did videos on that some months ago. YouTube silenced it, age restricted, because of the themes of ending a person's life, right? So how come I've not been silenced the same way in the Kenny Veach case when it's all about that at times? Weird. Maybe because it's not officially deemed as that cause of death for Kenny, because no evidence has been found that he is dead. Jeff says, Sharon was a supposed counsellor, 17 years older than a guy who she says is crazy. She was embarrassed about the questions the cops would ask about her own judgment. Jeff says, I was zapped before I even knew where the mine shaft was. That's how early that ever happened. So, so Jeff, did you, just to double check, did you get zapped on the same hike when you had that lost time of 2 hours or so to establish a possible link? June, people like us ref, which means if someone is getting the money, seems to be illegal, isn't it? People like us. Not quite responding back to that, but just in general, in terms of some people's outlook in the case, strangers, outsiders that call out, let's say, content creators, oh, you're benefiting from this case, you're a bad person. What about Kenny Veach if he was the one to fake it all and benefit himself? Let's just say if that was true. If Kenny Veach gets to benefit and smile behind a screen whilst people are risking their lives and others are spending time searching and investigating and putting energy, time and effort in, I think the general public or whoever on the outside looking into the case should be able to benefit in some way too. If Kenny Veach could possibly benefit from it, so should other people. 50-50 in different ways. But that's the thing. When it comes to true crime or mysteries, some people always think the worst and think, right, oh, that person's only covering it for that reason. That person's only doing videos because of growth and because of this and that. All people have to realize is, before I made videos on Kenny Veach, I was simply researching and watching the mystery from 2015, 5 years later, then doing a random video and going from there. So what came before videos was interest in just listening to the case, and that's it. And sometimes it's the only way you end up finding out or learning about a case because of channels or certain people out there, and hikers as well who have channels to show the videos on. Yes, Jeff says 2016? Half a day of missing time on that hike. Meanie says, Sharon has been strange about the whole thing since the start. Dale, I believe there is something mysterious out there. Too many strange encounters to dismiss it. Fair enough. Meanie, her LinkedIn screams fraud. She was way too willing to appease everyone. The whole thing is strange. ZX0, it is a mysterious scam. I wonder how Mr. Veach is feeling actually for all these years. It's one of those things where if Kenny Veach had faked, staged it all, if he tried returning back on the scene or publicly or online at least, I think there'd be a level of heat, backlash, maybe. June, that's what I mean about the channel. Can you imagine if Kenny is getting paid? The thing is, there's no real way to know because YouTube can put adverts onto channels that aren't even monetized, but also channels that may be monetized can add adverts in manually or automatically. So whether a person's monetized or not, adverts can exist. So there's still that possibility there. All I would say is, I'm surprised Kenny or someone on his channel manually removed his other hike videos. What for? Oh, we got Jam Sandwich, Justice for Noah Presgrove. Welcome, Jam. Just to mention it briefly, because I think I said somewhere I was going to briefly talk about Noah Presgrove. Another defendant had responded back in the documents court in recent time. The landowner or part of a parcel of land, is it Johnny Trout Wilcoxon, father to Stevie Howard, a person liable or labelled in the wrongful death lawsuit of Noah Presgrove, highlighted as they were to know, they were aware of the party that was going to take place, so they take responsibility in allowing it to happen and letting it be. They should have put their foot in the door and said, hey, that shouldn't happen, but let it happen. And knowing of alcohol and underage drinking and just not doing anything about it, that's the claim. but denying responsibility, denying involvement like how everyone else has done so. And Johnny Trout Wilcoxon is labelled as them owning a piece of land or a building, but the address given was more west at the bottom, the property, not the party house. So there was a bit of confusion around that. The only other interesting finding is with Noah Presgrove recently is a previous photo, which we've already seen of Noah Presgrove, Jasmine Millan, maybe Carter Combs, Jack Newton in the background, was of when Noah was topless, his shoulder, right shoulder and upper bicep had scrape marks or scratches on Jam. People were suggesting, was that caused from side by side or something else? Was it self-harm? Is it scars? Is it recent or previously healed? Weird observations like that. I don't know if I'll do a full-on video about it because I'm a bit busy at the moment. Jeff, I think the hoax theory is about 0% a decade later. June, I'm having a hard time getting my point across typing. It's okay, June, take your time. Meanie, sorry I was driving earlier. No problem, Meanie, you did well. Multitasking, better than me. What else do we have? ZX, someone who is in contact with Kenny would have the ability to manage the channel. Exactly. What's the gain from deleting his videos on his channel to make it more of a mystery, to drive more attention to the MK video itself? I mean, what's your thoughts, ZX0, on Kenny's comment on Son of an Area 51, that being deleted, removed? Was it by Kenny's channel, someone behind it? Was it reported? Was it Son of an Area 51 serious disclosure channel that got rid of it, I wonder? Jam, good questions. Thank you, Jam. Meanie, he didn't appear depressed in his last video. His ex was way too late to call the police and way too early to claim suicide. The video of the break-in at the family and then a hiker thought he something. And in terms of the CCTV footage of 2018, the Reiki healing store where it looked like Kenny, not everybody believes it. Some have debunked it, but there was material to suggest caught on camera and alive in 2018. There was a time where Kenny's daughter, Kenny Veach, did watch the CCTV footage and gave her thoughts and opinions. I don't know where about it is, but I'm sure on my channel I did document it, like a screenshot of a Facebook DM conversation of her responding back and what she had to say. Susan reiterated the rough quote of Vicky in more recent times, some months ago. So Kenny Veach's daughter, Kenny Veach, her reaction to the CCTV footage, believed it was Kenny, saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's my father. What's he doing there?" It was along the lines of that, in her words. And Vicky originally said, "Oh, I don't want my father to get in trouble. He doesn't deserve that. I don't want him to get arrested by the police." I remember that convo. And then afterwards, Vicky said, "No, I don't think it is Kenny." Did they change their opinion naturally? Did they do a U-turn because deep down they knew if it is Kenny, and that they feel it is Kenny, would he get in trouble with police? And she didn't want her father to get in trouble with police. Jeff Clark says, and then Vicky retracted that statement on the HLN show. Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it? I think what Jeff says there is what was mentioned in the subtitles or the transcript of the video, which Susan got a screenshot of to say, look, this is what Vicky is now saying, retracting her original statement. But her original statement, Vicky, the daughter, was mentioned in a Facebook DM conversation, and she believed it was Kenny. She truly felt that it was Kenny Veach in the CCTV footage, and that she didn't want her father to get in trouble with police. Of course, people can change their outlook with time. It's not illegal. But when it's such a prominent U-turn, what Vicky says privately is drastically different to what she says publicly. And is that for good reason? She doesn't want to publicly admit that her father is alive because it could cause backlash. It could lead to him getting in trouble in some way. But when it's in private, confidentiality, or you'd hope to think that, you can say anything. You can be yourself. You can reveal your true thoughts on what you think. So that's what the interesting situation is with Kenny's daughter. But what I will say is the interesting finding with Vicky Veach, the daughter to Kenny, if you go on Google Maps, I believe, Street View imagery, she might have moved on since, but her former place of living, at some point 2014 onwards, post-disappearance of Kenny, Kenny's vehicle, his vehicle that was found in the desert, was also parked up outside Vicky's house, which is interesting. Jeff, there is more about Vicky that I'll tell you about. Well, that's good to know. I'll be on the lookout for it. How many search parties went out to look for him? Was it like 3 searches conducted? Jeff says just leave Vicky out of it. If you regard, Jeff, when you say leave her out of it, do you mean as in right now, or do you mean as in when that material is shown? If I did a video about it, you would want me to exclude her name? Let me know. Because I know, Jeff Clark, sometimes you give a heads up as in don't do this or don't do that because it's risky. It could backfire. I can't remember what video it was, but I remember, was it about like the different houses, locations on Google Earth, and you said, Raf, bloody hell, you're risking it a little bit there. And I was like, it should be under control. Till this day, it has been under control. There's been more problems in the Noah Presgrove case than there has in the Kenny Veach case as a whole. She is not credible for several reasons. Do you mean Vicky? She's not credible. We got Michael Richmond. Welcome, Michael, to the channel. Is there a legal way to disappear besides the Federal Witness Protection Program? Kenny, never been found. I myself believe he's still alive out there somewhere. Why is he not being looked for? It feels like if Kenny Veach is simply a missing person out in the desert, suicide or not, it felt like the family weren't proactive enough. You didn't see appeals, you didn't see newscast, news interviews in the early days. Jeff, yes, because a lot of lunatics in Vegas and don't want to send them to a house. Okay. I mean, I get it. And then in other ways, if some stuff is public information, it's public information. It is what it is. If it's really private, well then you got to be very careful. But if some stuff is public, it's already out there. It depends how just the general public deal with it. That's why when I've done my videos here and there, I've just given a disclaimer saying, if you're going to investigate or look into it, do it within reason. I can't control and I can't be responsible for other people's actions. Meanie, has anyone gone to the beekeepers' places to search for life or signs of recent use? What? Abolish religion. Welcome to the channel, Abolish. Norway guy. We've got Norway guy. Norway. So, tongue twister. Norway guy present. Welcome. Michael Grow. We've got another Michael. Welcome. Heard he is investigating Mel's Hole instead of Washington. Who's he? You mean Kenny? Originally, when I first heard the term Mel's Hole, I just thought it was something dodgy, to be honest, but that's just my mind. Oh my God, the paper's sticking to the ground. My goodness. Maybe the IRS or child support only would care legally. Right, so besides Kenny's daughter Vicky at one point believing Kenny was alive, caught on CCTV, then did a massive U-turn on a documentary, Kenny's nephew, or one of the nephews, Hunter Veach, has given his thoughts previously. And if you go on Susan's channel on YouTube, there are screenshots of her sharing the conversation, whether it's with her and Hunter or Hunter and somebody else, talking about Kenny post-disappearance. I don't think it was so much about CCTV, but more so about Kenny being alive. And Hunter Veach believes that Kenny's not dead, and roughly in quotes, he's way too knowledgeable to go missing. Way too knowledgeable? Really? I find that a bit hard to believe, considering some of the circumstances and factors from his hike we'll get to in a second. Jeff says, Sharon is not hiding Kenny, lol. These are not criminal geniuses. I remember something now. Let me just quickly acknowledge the comments. Meanie, Beekeeper is the last known human that I know of that lived out there. Right. Michael, ha 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 ha. Hey, he was famous. He may have been afraid for his life. June, I don't think anyone in the public has done it the right way trying to get reports. It seems you must send in. Kevin, hey, I'm wondering if Kenny ever mentioned Little Skull Mountain in his videos. Is Little Skull Mountain when you're going down Picture Canyon, and once you walk past the row of shallow caves, it's on the right, where Kenny said he went up to collect his skulls. Is that the one what we're talking about? Jeff, Raymond Veach, Kenny's brother, says he died in an accident out there. Let's not forget one thing, Jeff. That time when an awfully similar sounding, bit of an ego type response, which really did sound like from Raymond Veach, that supposedly emailed me as a spiritual shaman. You remember that? I did a video on it, the spiritual shaman. Whispers in the wind, rough indirect reference to Raymond Veach and his teaching spiritually. And I was advised to great lengths and depths in an endless long, many paragraphs and memoirs, #1 times bestseller of emails, telling me I need to step away from the case, demanding or encouraging me, forcing me to move on to something completely different. The language, the wording, the behavior, and the keywords used sounded very similar to Raymond Veach. And if it is a true link, and Ray believes Kenny simply had an accident, then why be so pushy and resistant in getting me off the case? Weird. Very. If you believe the outcome to be unfortunate, not sinister, no foul play, and other people believe it to be more, differing of opinions, that's all it is at the end of the day. But if anyone shows resistance, becomes a problem, gets in the way of others, forces other people to back down or move on, it's like you're desperate to get people to move away. Jeff, I doubt that it was Raymond. He didn't answer my own email questions to him and to Debbie. I do have it documented on my channel, Jeff, if you want to look back at the video and the email itself. And, you know, it was a very long email. Just the fact that anyone would spend all that time to type it up. They were definitely dedicated. And it wasn't cryptic codes, and it wasn't like childish language. It was written up fairly well. June, I don't remember seeing the domino skeleton, just 2 small skulls. Well, I'll look back at the video and see what I can find. No Man's Land. Welcome, No Man's Land, to the channel. Your profile picture looks quite interesting. Aesthetic. Jeff, I doubt it was that Raymond. He didn't, yeah. look at fake really Robin and others, they do that a lot. Yeah, other people may do it a lot, but do a lot of people go to the same depth and time to type something out like that? Other people normally do a half-hearted attempt. I'm just referring to the photos or the links provided, the keywords, the shaman, the spiritual person, whispers in the wind, indirect, very small little links to Raymond Veach's practices, drumming, sounds, things like that. I saw the link. What other people wouldn't pick up on. Really small little underground links. Something that Atari would pick up on. So that's level-headed enough that I'm sure what I pick up on could be too. Driven, June, there really isn't a police report nor a proper investigation in regard to this case. It's just filed as a missing person report. But it's still a very important piece of material when the girlfriend states she reported Kenny missing 2 to 3 days later, but it turned out to be 7. Massive difference. Alexia, good night all. Good work, Raf. Appreciate that. Take care. Good night, Alexia. We got Ken Johnson. Welcome to the channel. Is that a profile picture of a light machine gun on a tripod? If so, that's good. Ken says, yo dude, from Spain. Hola. Focus and time. Gracias. Fake Really Robin had a multi-year countdown. It doesn't take much effort though. I could schedule a video right now for 2030. Do I have to do anything in between? No. Do I have to type? No. Do I have to do a long paragraph and email? No. Once you schedule a video, you sit back, you do nothing. And the video itself was really short too. Half-hearted. The people that I've come across manually type things out, manually spend hours doing this and that, and that's what's more interesting. If it's a half-hearted attempt by someone, yeah, you can just say it's fake, it's meaningless, that's pretty much it. But when there's a bit more effort and time consideration put in for the right or wrong reasons, it's the equivalent, Jeff. What I've encountered and documented is a microcosm to the rogue or the mysterious hikers that have gone out of their way 3 to 4 hours to the mine shaft to single-handedly, physically remove the brace off the ladder or the post of the mine shaft. Similar or same people to go to the supposed covered cave and remove that rock. And some people would suggest people that have gone up Robbins Canyon to move the gravel, for example. In real life, online, when people put a certain level of time and effort in, physically, mentally, or both, they must be doing it for a good enough reason, right? A half-hearted reason or a half-hearted attempt, anyone could do that, and yeah, it could be fake. Driven, very massive difference in terms of reporting missing, yeah. Kevin, the reason why I mentioned Little Skull Mountain is because it may have seemed that Kenny may have hinted that the so-called M Cave would have been up a mountain and not where most people are looking. June, Sharon and Kenny was going to try going 40 miles north of his usual hikers next time he went out. I don't remember Sharon. I don't think Sharon would not be able to do that. Kevin, I may be overthinking, but I like to see things figuratively and through symbology. Oh yeah, most likely due to severe ADHD. Fair enough. Look, in fairness, Cavendish, when it comes to symbols, meanings, and signs, sometimes it's what's needed to represent something that can't be explained through words. A visual element, a sign, can possibly link to something that can't be quite described or explained in the moment. It can do the talking itself. And other times, symbols can be a microcosm to a much bigger thing that's going on. ZX says, are you drunk? Driven 40 miles up in those mountains is impossible in one day. Yep. What I would say is, I don't know if you'll hear this, but Driven X Adventures, what's your thoughts on Kenny's comments on son of an Area 51 technician worker being deleted? Weird, normal? I think it's very unfortunate because all that material has been lost. June, there'd be more reports. They needed a warrant to look at his phone. No Man's Land says weird. And this is what I mean. Like, based on what we've seen ourselves, even if it's just online, Kenny's comments being deleted, Kenny's hike videos from the past being deleted, and so on and so on. News articles being deleted. If this case is so simple, there's not much going on, it's pretty straightforward, out in the desert, missing, accident, that's it, then why are all these other true mysteries occurring? This is similar to the Noah Presgrove case where, oh, it's just a simple accident with Noah. It wasn't murder, it wasn't foul play. If it's so simple, then why can't people cooperate and answer simple questions with simple answers in regard to simple events which don't link to Noah's death, it's before his death, and yet somehow there's contradictions, there's lies, inconsistencies, discrepancies. It makes it deeper than what it actually is, but why does it have to be like that? If it's simple, it should be simple. If Kenny's simply out there, then that's it. But then what's all these other mysteries doing along the way? Is it a series of unfortunate events and coincidences? But does it ever get to that point where there's so many coincidences that it can't just simply be a coincidence? There's a bit more to it. Let's just catch up here. It tells everything later a story. Jeff, Atari said location reminds her of a second Skinwalker Ranch. Driven, I just watched that video the other day for the first time. I think they went back and deleted to make it look like he is being watched by the government to make it look real. So, Driven, Driven, when you say, I think they went back and deleted the comments or the comment thread, who do you mean by they? Kenny, the girlfriend, or the YouTube channel Serious Disclosure? Who are you referring to there? We got Roots Lion, welcome back. Whole things, PSYOP, curious by who and why. No Man's Land, I think there's a lot more behind it and my ex-wife knows more. Unfortunately, I can't say more. What, your ex-wife? Interesting. Kenny and the girlfriend. Okay. Well, I can understand what you're getting at, Driven. Of course, if they make changes and alter the channel or something like that, it's going to raise some questions. I mean, if they really wanted to push it, if Kenny's channel changed, as in the profile picture or the background channel art on his channel page, that'd be interesting. Not that it links, but there was a food eater on YouTube, I think an Asian woman, that filmed herself eating, doing mukbangs. Sounds like a weird word, that. You got like lots of food on a table, you eat it all as much as possible and just review the food in silence, ASMR, whatever. And this popular YouTuber, this woman, was eating fast and all that, had bruises on her, looked like she was in a rush, and then disappeared off the face of this earth, not to be seen again. But her YouTube channel remained dead with all the videos left on it, remnants, and then years later, her profile picture changed. So it's so weird like that. You don't upload anymore, you might have gone missing, something bad may have happened, but you decide to change your profile picture on your channel, or someone else does. Slight little changes and adjustments in hopes of gaining a little bit of attention or traction to drive it. But Kenny's comments, deleting that is prominent, is big. And some people did catch on it. on Son of an Area 51 and left comments saying, where's Kenny's comments gone? Driven, it's like all the channels that came and gone during the beginning of this case. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to think of which channels that did come and go. If you're talking about the big channels, well, those type of people tend to come in, tell the same regurgitated story of once upon a time, there's a hiker, claimed to found a cave, went out there, couldn't find it, went back out, disappeared, never heard again. And some people say, oh, mental health, the end. That is the regurgitated story the big YouTube channels do. They come in, tell a story, and then piss off. They don't go beyond, they don't question beyond. But in terms of other channels, I'll give you one example. Mystery Hikes. That was the name of one. Do you remember that, Jeff Clark? Mystery Hikes. Did a hike out there, or some kind of hike. Didn't see them again, or their channel. Let's double check. No Man Lands. I think Kenny's sister-in-law, Susan, was on the right track. Oh, we got, yeah, there we go. We got Travis. Neighbours, welcome, Travis. ZX, is Atari okay? I have no clue. I've never checked. I've been too locked in with cases. Cavendish, Kenny did look nervous in his video, similar to how someone that would be nervous about doing something may start procrastinating with other things. To distract himself from consciously find a cave may have given him so much trauma. Jeff Clark, yes, I remember the same for Treasure Trails, yes. But in general, Treasure Trails just don't upload videos anymore. Now, Treasure Trails wanted to do an interview with me, and the male behind the camera was called Willie, which is a bit of an unfortunate name. Was a bit of one as well, considering their time schedule. Oh yeah, man, we're going to be doing it 2 in the morning. Excuse me, do I look like I'll be doing it at that time? I don't think so. Got to understand there is a time zone difference. It worked with casual conversations, but for some reason it didn't work with Treasure Trails. That Willie character, that's the real name of the person. Don't know if they were bold or not, but their attitude was just a little bit problematic, and, you know, time zone difference was a problem. As for their other half, their partner, they didn't really seem to do the talking. It was the guy that did it, but it was a bit unusual. But went quiet, went dead. That's it. The end. Was there anyone else in the case? There might be. It's hard to keep on with everyone. Driven. The ones that were on Sharon's Twitter. So you say ones as in more than one person. Well, the only person that I was aware of, Driven, was Eric the Hiker. Eric the Hiker, 2016, Twitter, Sharon Pilgrim. And Sharon says, are you going out? Have you gone out yet? I've not heard from you. Can you please reach out? And nothing happened after that. And Eric the Hiker was supposed to be going out to search for Kenny. That's what they claimed. Whether it happened or not, who knows? But let's just say it did happen. Was he reported as a missing person? Supposedly, no. Did Sharon do anything about it? Supposedly, no. There's a man who went out and was not found until 12 years later, and they believed all he did was taking the wrong path. Sad. Right, so I'm guessing it implies that he was found dead. Right. So the screenshot which Susan posted on her channel page was the conversation of her or someone with Kenny's nephew Hunter, and Hunter said, Kenny is way too knowledgeable when it comes to hiking, that he believes that Kenny is not dead. Well, Hunter may have said that, as in a private DM Facebook conversation, but Hunter didn't say anything about the CCTV. But if Hunter truly believes that Kenny is way too knowledgeable, then explain to me why Kenny couldn't call it Wild Horse Pass, he called it Ridge, and now he referred to Gas Peak, or called it Gas Peak when it was called Sheep Peak. I don't even think Kenny referred to it as Picture Canyon. There's a lot of names, words, which Kenny missed out from his hike. Like Kenny said, oh, it's about 10, 11 hours or so to hike, but I need to check my map afterwards to check the distance. Shouldn't you already know the distance when you've already done this hike once or twice beforehand? So, Kenny may be an experienced hiker, but he doesn't seem knowledgeable enough in remembering names, unless he did it on purpose to cause misdirection. Kevin, another possibility could be that he knew the warning of revealing the cave, hence why Kenny may have used symbology like crystal skulls or certain words with the mine ram up there. As for the ram on the mountains, in the same position or so, years apart when Sean Horlacher was exiting, he saw a bighorn sheep or a ram up there too. The timing of it, the coincidence, is a bit creepy. Jeff, I do not believe that Red Rock Search and Rescue was ever in charge of that search on federal land within 3 miles of that border. No man's land. What I don't understand is that nothing, absolutely nothing, was found. And what about the smell? Something just not right there. Nothing was found. Well, in terms of out there, Kenny's phone and coins were found by the mine shaft, but that was it. The thing is with Treasure Trails, the videos that they really did break down into short clips. I can't remember they did full videos. The fact that Sean reported that it was Red Rock Commander himself who found the charged phone at the mine. He was not at the command post. Said they found the phone already somewhat charged. But didn't you, Jeff Clark, say when the phone was found, likely they put the phone on charged, then check to see if there was any photos of interest on it? Which way round is it? Was the phone found charged? Or was the phone found and then it was later charged to check for stuff on it? Because there is a big difference and it can link to what Susan believes. Red hat just a little bit down, just a little bit. What else do we have on here? Kenny Veach's phone. And this is the thing, Jeff Clark. This is perfect timing because what Susan, and do you know what? I will mention it now. I want to do a separate video on it, but this is really creepy, okay? Well, Jeff, you may know, but for other people. In terms of Sean Horlacher saying that the commander found the phone or the phone was found charged, or let's just say it was found charged, Susan did a post on her YouTube channel community page and stated, well, from what Sean had said about that and what I've heard, likely the reason why the phone was charged and it wasn't drained or damaged because the phone was put out there later. That Kenny didn't go missing or go out on the 10th, more so it was 7 days later on the 17th. And then a few days after, that's when the search was done. That's why they found the phone. And whilst it was charged and it was still usable, that Kenny and Sharon, or both, or one or the other, drove out there and planted the phone at the mine shaft 7 days later to justify the 7 to 8 days of when the girlfriend decided to report Kenny missing. That's what Susan said based on her interpretation of the phone being found charged. Okay, Jeff? And the reason why that's so creepy is because this claim of 7 days later, on the 17th of when they went out to drop the phone off, and that it was 7 days late when the girlfriend reported Kenny missing, back in 2021, when Sharon didn't exist, when the police report didn't exist, in Really Robin's hike video, Robin stated in his words, and Kenny Veach disappeared the 17th of November. Oh, 7 days after. 7 days as in when he was reported missing. 7 days in which Susan claims that that might be when the phone was found and dumped out there. How would Robin, it might be a slip of the tongue, it might be a mistake, it might just be a coincidence, but how would Robin know it was 7 days after when Kenny actually went missing, supposedly? Okay, reported missing is different to when you went missing, different actions and things, but they can occur on the same day. But the timing of it with what Robin said, based on what he interpreted of what he knew, We didn't know because it didn't exist publicly. So how did Robin know that? I said, I can do videos about this with the actual footage of Robin saying this and that and comparing it to what Susan says and the timing of it all. And I can't give you the raw date because Robin's original video was removed, taken down, and then it was reposted and archived afterwards. But I do remember Robin being active in the case in 2021, roughly. And that's before when Susan came in. Driven, I like the way you're thinking. Appreciate that. No man's, please do. Or as in do the video, I will. I gotta do it in a certain order because I still need to acknowledge SB Vegas as in the mine shaft, because slightly different things, but it can all link together because the mine shaft, it says Kenny's phone was found near a vertical mine shaft. Not but a vertical mine shaft. Well, yeah, the one where Kenny stood near, but SB came across a vertical mine shaft. Which one is it? Does it really matter? Well, kind of. If it's in a different area or location, why did Kenny go up that way then? Or wherever. I need to do a video analysis on that mine shaft, try and get the coordinates of it, do a map analysis, whether it's one video, two videos, and then after that, then I may be able to tie it in with the Susan comment about the 7 days later theory of the phone being found charged, and really, Robin, years before, knowing about it before it was ever mentioned public. That's why it comes across that Robin knew more than other people did, that Robin knew of details before it was ever released public. That's why it's weird. Jeff, nothing Susan says is valid for me anymore. She twisted everything to suit her ridiculous hoax theory. See, the thing is, Jeff, what Susan may say could be interpreted as ridiculous or unreliable, but the fact that really Robin said a similar thing to some extent, years apart, is weird. June, Treasure Trails did post a few hike videos. They seem to be in different areas that Kenny was in, which I think needs to be looked at instead of the usual trail. Well, the usual trail is the hike route that Kenny did. So in terms of other areas where they searched where Kenny was at, shouldn't that be a part of the usual trail? Because if it's not a part of the usual trail, then it's not a part of the same hike that Kenny did on his October uploaded video. So why would he be elsewhere? And where would that be exactly? But it's interesting how Kenny said, if it's Jermaine Guzzler or over that side on the other side, Robbins Canyon, which Jeff did, which SB's done recently, which has been described as extremely difficult and dangerous, yet Robin managed it. What's going on? Okay, what else do we have? I think the thing is, sometimes Susan Veach may come across as sarcastic when she's dealing with supposed resistance. And the problem is being sarcastic in a serious situation. It gets in the way of the truth at times. We've been searching all over these mountains, canyons, and ravines. I read that as ravens, as in the birds, but ravines. Yeah, J Chuck went really full on with the ravines, ravine 1, 2, 3, 4. I have the screenshot of Robin stating that him and Sean work for the same groups. It was in the Silver Hills screenshot. Really? Wow, interesting. Got a lot of liquid with me tonight. Not coughing as much, thankfully, so that does help, but still every now and then. In terms of Susan being sarcastic, an example of that, I guess, it was more so a video, I believe, on a channel about Kenny's house video, his face compared to Kenny's hike video. Same guy, different size forehead. What? But I don't know if Susan was being sarcastic at a response by someone that might have claimed that Kenny in the house video isn't the same Kenny in the hike video. I'm not too sure about it, but visually they do look the same, but one looks younger, the other one looks older. But then at the same time, in terms of you talk about the forehead, well, Kenny getting back from the hike, sweating, hair, wind blowing it back, revealing more of the forehead. Kenny in his house tour video, hair flatter, covering more of the forehead up. So there's that. I can't remember how far apart the videos were. In terms of the videos that still remain on his channel, first the house tour one, selling his house, then the hike video, and then his inventions, which were all uploaded on the same day. An act of desperation. Maybe I can look back at his channel, YouTube channel, see if there's any patterns, any hidden meanings, anything whatsoever. Jeff, my Kenny face comparison is conclusive. It's not him. Yeah, in terms of the CCTV footage, what you're referring to. But Susan Veach was doing a post or a video to do with the house video and the hike and saying, or being sarcastic, I don't know which way to interpret it as, it's not Kenny, it's different people. Okay. What I will say is, Jeff, in terms of, was it 2024 when the healing store was broken into again? From my opinion, what I would say on that occasion, the later one, that wasn't Kenny. That's what I would say. I don't know if did I see the footage of it? I don't remember. Driven. I don't think back then they didn't know it would show the dates. You are never going to get any sense or logic out of Susan, Ralph. Yeah. Well, what I'd say is, it might have come out in other ways too. But just for me, just me, the reason why I was able to show and analyse that police report at the time was because of Susan. If she wasn't around at the time, I wouldn't have been able to cover it. I wouldn't have known it was 7 days later. So that's important. There were times where Susan did provide some material which was very important, and that's why I did my videos. To some extent, a very important one is Susan with a screenshot and an encounter of Kenny, his Facebook account, phoning Susan around the time of, was it Kenny's birthday or upcoming birthday in 2022 or something? It's just weird, to be honest. What else do we have? Oh yeah, that's the other thing what I would want to say. When it comes to Kenny Veach, Driven, she provided a lot of information to a lot of us. And that's the other thing. While some people may have given up or realised maybe Susan wasn't the one or helpful, and I stuck around and I was patient because I just thought, just in case things get better or something comes about, and okay, it may have not worked out eventually, but still, it was important to follow it that way. Jeff, her facts are not in dispute. It is when she gets into her theory that she goes off the rails. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you go into a theory, anyone, just be appropriate with language and wording, it should be fine. She cannot distinguish between facts and opinions. What I want to know is, or what, you know, people watching right now, you let me know what you think in the live chat. When Kenny went out and came across the MK for the first time, when he didn't have his camcorder, did he have his mobile phone? And if he did it have a back rear-facing camera, just for taking photos or videos, regardless of quality? Back in 2014 or 2013, when I think smartphones did exist back then. What I'm getting at is, Kenny may have not had his camcorder to record his finding, but if he had his mobile phone with him, which had a rear-facing or front-facing camera, if he had his phone with him, why did he not use that to document it? You get what I'm saying? You think Kenny would take his phone with him, especially on a hike he intends on returning back in the early days, just in case he needed to call for help? We have to have an open mind, definitely. And sometimes having an open mind in a case can make you a target and you can get attacked. And the later stages, Susan did attack me just because I looked at it from a more holistic outlook. When it felt like it was drifting away from her narrative or opinion's direction, it was seen as, oh, well, that's not good. But it's because I wanted to look in other areas just so it's not neglected. Because if you go tunnel vision, you'll forget and miss out on a lot of things. Now, as you might come across a lot of fake stories, fake news and fake claims and fake people, every now and then there might be a genuine person. Jeff Clark, I get attacked and censored a lot. Maybe you dress up as an animal, dress up as a penguin, you might be treated better. But yeah, does anyone think Kenny Veach had his mobile phone with him if it had a camera on the back on his unrecorded first encounter with the M Cave hike? Why did he not take a photo with his phone or record it? You don't need a camcorder, you don't need a professional high-end equipment. If you got your phone, if it's got a camera on, why not just use that? Did Kenny have his phone with him? You'd think so. Why did he not use it? When someone has the equipment or something which could be used, but they choose not to use it, and then their excuse is, well, I didn't have the exact equipment, I wasn't fully equipped, but you had something. And that's what the thing is. Is that the first sign of excuses and possible lies? Maybe. What else? Kenny's phone coins dropped, but no backpack, gun or tent. That's what Susan Veach was getting at. Driven, he might have had 2 phones and that was his throwaway phone. So when you say that, Driven, what you suggest, do you mean when Kenny went out on his November 10th hike, his final hike, he took 2 phones with him? One as a decoy or something to drop off at the mine shaft, and his main phone he took with him? Or are you referring to when Kenny first encountered the M Cave and he had 2 phones with him then? Which hike are you referring to? No Man's Land. Now it makes sense to me that the smell ended at the mine shaft, the telephone was put down, possibly. Even if Kenny Veach didn't have his phone, Kenny's body odor, clothing releases some form of scent out there. Jeff Clark, he was standing, not me. Why, were you on your back, Jeff? Oh my God. Jeff says, I was standing in front of a cave and thought the vibration was coming from within. I doubt it. I think it came from above. Ooh. Let me get a screenshot of that. Will it allow me? I don't know. Don't glitch out. I hope it didn't glitch out the live stream then. It's the first time I've taken a screenshot. Driven, I've been carrying 2 phones for over 20 years. If I carried 2 phones, I don't think my trousers would stay up because the weight of the phones nowadays are quite heavy. June, what I don't understand is so many hikers have gone the same exact route and found nothing. So would it hurt to go off a little? So the thing is, June, Scott Natal went elsewhere and found a tent and sword further north. SB Vegas Adventures, for example, went beyond north. Hidden Forest Trail, Hidden Forest Cabin, maybe Hayford Peak, I don't know about that one. But yeah, hikers have gone elsewhere as well. They may have not found stuff to do with Kenny, but they've still found mysteries and interesting stuff out there, and maybe sounds, feeling the presence of being watched, etc. Scott Natal went up Pine Nut Road. I don't know if it was mentioned by Scott or Gene Lukowski that claimed Kenny's scent was also found up Pine Nut Road. Weird. But Gene Lukowski was a strange individual, an example of someone that puts time and effort in typing up paragraphs, appearing to be knowledgeable with facts, statistics, and dates, even if it's all made up, to try and convince people it's a it's a real search and rescue guy. Gene Lukowski. Susan Veach followed up on that name, reached out to the Red Rock search commander, and the commander responded, never heard that name before. So there's that. Gene Lukowski also said in a comment on YouTube in the past that there was a Kenneth Yeager commander or someone, a part of search and rescue, a private search up, was it Dead Man Canyon? Blackgate Canyon, maybe Blackgate Canyon, one or the other. Instead of going up Jeremy Canyon, it's off that way, which is a bit more east, and up Dead Man or whatever canyon. A femur bone was found, turned out to be animal, but they were searching for another missing person. Kenneth Yeager? The hell's going on there? Didn't really come to anything, but just these names, just things appearing weird. But yeah, Susan's other comment or post on Blackgate, yes. Susan's comment about Kenny's phone and coins found at the mine shaft. What happened with the backpack, the gun, the tent? Where did that end up? Kenny decides to drop some items at the mine shaft, but not the rest. What does he do with the rest of items? Or was it Kenny's tent that Scott Natal found further north? I mean, it's orange. I'm just trying to think. The bag of that tent found nearby, was it the same coloured tent that Kenny had in a video on his Facebook page? I don't know. It's weird. Wallet, car keys, yeah. Why do you think the girlfriend felt the need to put out the little snippet of Kenny's last hike that he neglected too? Good question. I'm glad that it was done. Fills it out. And I archived it on my channel since. The full, well, what we've seen, M Cave Hiker Kenny with the never released footage all in one. Archiving it just in case Kenny's original video ever gets deleted. She was hyping the upcoming HLN show. Oh, what, you mean Susan was hyping things up on her channel, YouTube channel, because of the documentary? To show that he is pushing himself to the limit. Interesting. What else do we have? There was other Veach family members, extended relatives when it came to the CCTV that supposedly also thought that Kenny was caught on CCTV and thought he was alive. And they're quite passionate about it and also shocked. The only issue is when Susan provided screenshots of these Facebook Messenger convos DMs, the text was different colours, the font was rather enlarged. That could be down to preference, but visually, sometimes people did argue and question, are they fake? Are they superimposed, enhanced, edited? It just doesn't look the same as what they would normally see in a Facebook conversation. One way of looking at it. No Man's Land, she wanted to convince everyone that he had taken it too far. Susan, what, hyping HLN to Atari, asking Atari to spread the word of the emails. I don't know how many subscribers I had at the time compared to other people. It's not a guarantee, but let's just say in the earlier days, if I had more subscribers, my channel, than other people, you'd think that Susan would reach out to the channel with the most subscribers to get the word across, like a popularity contest, but that didn't happen to me from what I'm aware of. It can also come down to levels of trust, who you believe in more, who you believe could do a more competent job at spreading the word. But You think at times the biggest channel will receive the most suggestions and people reaching out because they think bigger platform, bigger channel, more ways to spread the news. That was too dangerous for her. What, as in the hike? The whole mystery of phantom footsteps out there, creepy. Dale, not if she was hiding something and she knew you had uncovered the truth. I mean, if the crystal skull truly was a crystal skull, do you think that Kenny Veach put it there as a sign? Anyone else putting it there, if it wasn't linked to Kenny or it wasn't even a part of the case, who would honestly come across it? Would they anticipate anyone to come across it? Probably not. But the area is put on the map literally by Kenny in popularity, and Kenny left a trail whether he wanted to or not. Leaving a skull behind in the mine shaft could be more findable compared to just putting it there if no one was missing in the first place. Who would be going out there? No one. But would anyone be going out there in a missing person case? Absolutely. But we'll never know if Red Rock did capture the crystal skull, I guess. Was the crystal skull sitting on a note, like a piece of paper? Okay, that's a question, Jeff Clark. Yeah, true, Jeff. When you suggest, Jeff, that was there a possible note under the skull? From the photos that you took, do you think, Jeff, that there's any paper or any note under that skull in the photo that you took at the time? Or do you think that the note was taken before the skull between 2014 and 2017? Let me know. What do we have here? Okay. Let's go that down just for a second. Welcome to anyone else that has joined this live stream talking about the Kenny Veach case, that some family members at one point knew or felt that Kenny was alive post disappearance of 2014. Some U-turns in between. Some think that Kenny is knowledgeable, he wouldn't have died out there. Everything was dark very fast. Fair enough. What I'm saying is, Jeff, that photo that you kind of like blindly took in the dark or whatever with flash on, and it showed that crystal skull from the photo that you took. Did you see a note? Not in real life, in real time, but from that photo. That photo that you indirectly took of that crystal skull, could you make out any paper underneath or round the side or not? Based on that photo only. Kept draining all my new batteries immediately until I got back on top. Interesting. So, Jeff, you've experienced strange encounters with that mine shaft, and you've also experienced it with the Pitcher Canyon hotspot area. And the other place, was it Cow Coral? Oh, God, it doesn't say Coral. That's going to trigger some people the way you pronounce it, well, the way I do. Jeff, you're better at photo analysis, I don't know. Right, okay then. So, actually, do you know what? I probably should write it down, to be honest. As in, these video ideas. Give me a second. Where's the pen? Just put it there. Jeff Clark. Analyze. Crystal skull. Note. So that's one video down. So the paper keeps sticking on the side. Weird. Leave it like that for now. Oh, we got jam sandwich. Where was this photo taken of the skull? Mine shaft? Yeah. So I'm sure Jeff Clow will probably answer that because Jam was asking Jeff, but if the response isn't given, the crystal skull indirectly found, captured in the mine shaft north of Little Jeremy Canyon, which takes 3 to 4 hours to get to the mine shaft north, just before Wild Horse Pass in the Mojave Desert, Little Jeremy Canyon. What other ideas video-wise? North Wall. Yeah, so there is still quite a few video ideas that I need to do videos on. It's just the order of how I do them. Sometimes I upload it in a certain way where I can do part 1, part 2, part 3, and then other times it's a bit all over the place just because of how the videos are uploaded. And when I say all over the place, like one video looking into the possibilities of Kenny being alive, and the next video, the possibilities of him being dead. It can only be one or the other, but I'm looking at it from different perspectives, and that's why it's a bit up and down. I don't want to neglect one theory or outcome. I might spend quite some time looking at one way, one avenue, but then I want to spend other time looking elsewhere. That's for the full perspective. June, is it true the ex-girlfriend bought a house a year after Kenny went missing? Is she married? Actually, one thing what I will say, because it's just reminded me, Susan Veach said to me in the past that a family member of Kenny, I don't know if it was Raymond Veach or someone, had a house, decent-sized one, somewhere. And Susan, was supposed to be going on down to visit those family members or relatives, and was also considering doing like a scout mission in that house because she truly believed that's where Kenny's being held or hidden at. Never heard a follow-up on that, which is unfortunate, but I don't know if that's what Susan was getting at, is what like people have been saying here. You're welcome, Jam. His car was also reparked. So the thing is, no man's land. Kenny's vehicle was handed over to one of the Veach family members, I think, or even shown Pilgrim for a certain time. When you go, it's on my channel, but when you look at Google Maps and you go back in time, post 2014, at some point, outside of Vicky Veach's former place of living, Kenny's vehicle was parked up there at the house. Then it was moved about after, and then supposedly, years later, it was sent to a scrapyard or something. Driven, thank you. We all need to have an open mind, especially as strange as this rabbit hole is and has been. Ralphinator, welcome. Could somebody please share coordinates of the mine shaft where Kenny's phone was found? I can't share the coordinates right now, Ralph, but if you leave a comment down below in the live stream, as in the comment section, not the live chat, I can reply back to you with the coordinates if you want. Oh, No Man Land says, yeah, I noticed it, okay. If Kenny is alive, it's hard to believe that all these years he wouldn't make a mistake and be found. Is he living off grid though? Cavendish probably do a video purely focused on what the crystal skulls would mean to Kenny as part of his video where he makes reference to things like skulls, crystals. I can do that to some extent, Cavendish. Oh, there we go, driven with the coordinates. There we go. See, I can't provide coordinates because I'm doing it on mobile and I don't have another device with me to map it out, but yeah. But yeah, Cavendish, I can do a video. I don't know if I did write it down as for a note, so I'll just write it down now. Kenny house video major clue. Dice. See, you know what the thing is, I think it was misunderstood at the time, so I think an update video is needed in case it was misinterpreted. Kenny Veach had a pair of dice on the table, and I think we, like Atari, added it up incorrectly. We thought it was the 10th, like the number 10, it added up 5 and 5 or something, but the dice added up to the 11th. Basically, you know, the number 10 would be important because that's the day of when Kenny went out, but if it's 11th, then it's not as important. It might have been misunderstood at the time. Atari did that video on the Crystal Skulls, but then she deleted it. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Certain anomalies, like focusing on the ram and the turtle and what Kenny said during that time, his expression, style. I just think it's kind of creepy how what Kenny Veach encountered with that ram on the mountaintop, just peering over. Sean Horlacher experienced the same thing, roughly in the same area. Years apart, but being followed out. That's creepy. I think even Sean acknowledged it from remembering Kenny experiencing the same thing. What time are we on? Okay, decent time. So I have reached the end of... Sorry about that noise. It sounds like sellotape, but it's not. I've reached the end of the bullet points, as in the, you know, what's come about, what Susan has said, the phone situation, the condition of the phone, unknown of, important, the charge of the phone, can be done for a separate video. Do you know what? Don't know if I've written it down or not, but I'll write it again. Kenny's phone, just write that for a second. Kenny Veach phone, charged or charge. Like that. Oh, there we go. Where's the chat gone? Trav Jenkins, Mr. Jenkins, which at the time was Sean's hiking, what do you call it, hiking buddy, friend, the one that mentioned the ram. Okay. Interesting. What happened to Mr. Jenkins? Does Sean still talk with him? Is Mr. Jenkins still interested in the case? Or was it just like a one-time thing? Hey, speaking of which, remember Jeff Clark Nelia, the Mount Everest former Russian model tour guide? Oh my God. I forgot what her last name was. Jenkins is a cool guy though. Yeah. Yeah, Nelia, that Mount Everest tour guide involved in this case was, oh my God. Jeff Clark nearly had an aneurysm because she didn't decide to translate with Google Translate. My goodness, that was crazy. Nelia was a dude. It was J Chuck. J Chuck, I believe, was in love with Nelia. Some people said that Nelia, her account was taken over by a former boyfriend who may have murdered her or not. Or it was the boyfriend just using her account. Was it catfishing, J Chuck? I think J Chuck on his profile picture or channel art still is in memory of Nelia and all that. I remember the time when Nelia decided to email me, and within 2 days, she sent me 100 emails. It was disastrous. Jeff, Sean hammered Nelia so bad they quit. Oh my goodness. I mean, I could tell it was fake with Nelia when it came to her profile picture with the Russian model, like, filter overlay BS. Wild. I don't know what Cleo's on about. Okay, so we're reaching the end of the notes. If there's any final questions, you can leave them below, or any points or theories or ideas, you can do so. I'll end the live stream shortly because it's gone on a reasonable amount of time. I'll do a countdown as well. I know Jam Sandwich will love that. And then we'll see where it goes from there. And then hopefully tomorrow or the day after, I will have a normal Kenny Veach video, and whichever direction that goes in. I need to redo my post poll in regard to would you like Frenchman Mountains, analysis of the area. There's some very interesting spots over there. Travis, can you fill me in on who Nelly was? Yeah, I'll do that briefly, Travis. Nelia, last name Osvich. Nelia's profile picture of a female with a brown headband going over her forehead and hair coming down by the side as her profile picture. Claimed to be a Mount Everest tour guide. Claimed to be a former Russian model. Claimed to be in a relationship, I think, with a boyfriend in the past, and it didn't work out. And Nelia said her team, her Mount Everest tour guide team, was or were going to go out and hike for Kenny. Their English was terrible. They never used Translate. You could tell them stuff and they would just ignore it. They kept posting numerous screenshots, duplicates over and over again. She reached out to me. She sent me 100 emails in 2 days. It was ridiculous. The hiker J-Chuck Vlogs was infatuated with this Nelia Osvich and believed it really was her. And when she went missing in action, J-Chuck mourned for her disappearance for some time and still holds a place in his heart, holds a place with her. Was there anything else? Nelly had videos on a channel, slideshow photos of her past with, was it charities, foreign countries, poverty, fucking peacekeeper, bollocks, I don't know. Weird stuff going on. Nelia hardly ever made sense. Very repetitive, did not speak English or translate. Severe disconnect, didn't make much sense. Yeah, that was pretty much it, and then disappeared finally, never to be seen ever again. Couple of, what is Cleo on about? Jam, I didn't see screenshot it. I'm kicking myself on that one. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm just going back over some of the comments. Jam, in my opinion, I think funny stuff has gone on in the land records in Oklahoma around Terrell. I remember searching Terrell Town Hall, and I saw something on Hunter X Map app that showed that Bub Wilcoxon owned it. Johnny Trout Wilcoxon. Fair enough. Months later, it changed. Oh, that's interesting. You're welcome, Trav. Nelia came on a live stream with Sean and he got so pissed about the translations he went off on them. Just imagine if I did now. Oh my God. I don't understand, Cleo. You keep confusing me. Okay. So I'm going to do a slow countdown now before I end the live stream because I've finished what I was going to say, and then I'll have the normal videos coming up shortly. Dale, good stuff, War. Y'all take care. See you next time. Take care, Dale. Thanks for watching. Starting from numero 20. I can't speak in Spanish, man. Slow. I'll try my best. I'll try and go as slow as possible, as if I'm stuck almost. Stuck in jam. Oh, actually, just when you said go slow, Jam, my phone said 20% battery. It must be a sign. Symbols. Driven. Enjoyed. Thanks. You're welcome. Glad you were able to watch and found the video interesting. It's all good there. And yeah, more videos to come from different angles and perspectives. So, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ooh, in 1936, there was a tree. Definitely. You're welcome, Cavendish. 14, 13, and it had 99 apples. Apples, is that the only fruit that it had upon the tree? 14, 12. 14, 12? I missed out number 13. How could I? 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 75 birds came by. Did they take all the apples or did they leave some by for the squirrels? Very interesting. Glad to finally make a live. Take care, Jean. It's good that you were able to make it. That's all good. And what I'll try and do next time round when I do a live stream, I'll do a short video on YouTube just to announce it in one way. And then for the people that don't get notified on my my short video of the announcement, I'll do a community post too. So it's 2 ways of being notified, and then I'll do the live stream. I think you can schedule live streams too, but because of when I do it and setting it up, I don't want it to overlap, because then if the live stream starts whilst I'm still doing other stuff, it's gonna be caught out. It's just gonna be awkward timing. They asked it for 101 peaches. Oh my goodness, greedy birds. Very greedy. We'll start from 15 because I've lost count. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, magic number, 3, 2, 1, and 0. And those birds said tree, 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 tree. Oh God, not tree, tree. It gives me flashbacks to the Dylan Rounds case days of a certain individual over there. Oh, then it kind of links to a certain Noah Presgrove creator in the earlier days. Right, so we'll end it there for Kenny Veach. All I'll say on the sideline, because I did say that this live stream was going to incorporate a bit on Noah Presgrove, which I did mention earlier. In terms of Noah Presgrove, people are jumping ships, people are stepping down, walking away from the case, the pages, etc. It's unfortunate. There seems to be more attacks and drama and conflict and all of that. Crazy. You're welcome, Jam. What's ultimately changed in between? The case is still technically a mystery. People may think that they know more or they know the answers, but officially, it's not really got anywhere. Make no sense, Cleo. But in terms of the Noah Presgrove case, not much has drastically changed since. So why should it within the community then? Unless people have just had enough, or other people are twiddling their thumbs a bit too much and it's causing backlash. Yeah, only so many videos that can be covered on the case. Opportunities to do other videos, but the party footage of some clips or snaps haven't been released yet or handed to me, so I can't do anything about it and I don't know anything about it. But yeah, I could do some extensive analysis in really good ways, but if the material isn't there, it's just not there, and it's not possible. Very unfortunate. Surprised no one's reached out since. After this time passing by, maybe the thumbs weren't given up. And that's unfortunate, that, because with the Noah Presgrove case, there's still quite a few loose ends that need tying up, even if it's insignificant events. Whilst Caden Pressey may not be linked with or as a defendant, and people have moved on since, I think the whole Caden Pressey and Alicia situation of all the discrepancies and all the claims and points all over the bloody place, an absolute mess and disaster from innocent people. Like with the Kenny Veach case, an innocent, harmless accident, situation, whatever, and it's all the background stuff that goes on, which makes it more of a mystery than what it actually is. And why does that have to be that way? Why does it come about like that? Jam, I'm afraid we don't have much until the civil trial starts. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but there was like mentions of the side-by-side rollover, the after effects, or when rolling it back on its wheels and Caden Pressey caught on camera. That was supposed to be shown to me, or could be at some point. Noah in the white shorts, a video of that supposed to be sent over, but it never happened. Or it's just not the right time, which is very unfortunate because it could be of great use. So don't know if that will happen or when, but I just wanted to bring that up. I can do 1 or 2 videos on Noah Presgrove. It's just hard fitting it in when it comes to doing the Kenny Veach stuff, when being so locked in with important videos, important hunger by the people watching, the statistics as well. It's like a sign, got to keep going, got to focus on that. Unless on the odd day I do a Noah Presgrove video in the morning time, a Kenny Veach video at night time, and then a day or 2 later, a Kenny Veach live stream debriefing video. Jam, interesting, a video about what has been promised to you but hasn't been provided. I could do that as like a short clip or something. I'll write that down now, Jam. Noah Presgrove promised videos never delivered or never received. There we go. That's what I mean, like as an example there, 2 or 3 video ideas generated from one video. It's like the human centipede. It's not normally happened this, but on this occasion it kind of has. The other video that I will do, Jam, at some point, is more creative, more hands-on, is incorporating Tim Daniel about 2 vehicles. One, Noah's in the back of, falls out, vehicle behind on the road, runs over Noah Presgrove. The likelihood, chances of that, I'll do a reconstruction demonstration video about it. Okay? Very important. I'll definitely do that. So, with that being said, a second final quick countdown. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Done. It's not impossible. That reconstruction, it's possible, but the one behind the wheel, behind the other vehicle, should have known better because they would have had lights on and would have seen ahead. Unlike the vehicle at the front, in which they're looking ahead, Noah would be in the back, they wouldn't be able to see behind, or they wouldn't be focused on behind and be looking more ahead. So, big shout out to everyone that did watch the live stream, for those watching in the background, for new people that have watched tonight, and people from the past, and if you just joined here too, feel free to rewind back. This live stream may take some time to process or upload, so you can rewatch it and catch up, and maybe like captions or subtitles generate a bit slower later, just as a heads up, if they don't show immediately. But yeah, I think it was a key live stream tonight, which was good. As for the titles, they might be vague, and that's just because there's a lot to talk about, and also My normal videos are focused like a scalpel on one thing at a time. A live stream is more open discussions, so it might come across as vague, but that's just the style and how it has to be. If it was too precise or focused, they wouldn't be as long in length. Jan, thank you for your continued coverage in all these cases. You're welcome. Actually, I was having a quick look. As for Kenny Veach, I've uploaded 500 plus videos on Kenny Veach, 500 videos on Dylan Rounds exact, and 400 plus on Noah Presgrove. Slowly approaching 500. Seems to be a magic number there, I guess. But nevertheless, shout out to all those that have watched. I'll end the live stream now, stretch the body in, because it's late and whatnot. So yeah, my name's Wallite Raff. Thanks for watching. See you next time in a normal video live premiere, either tomorrow or the day after. Okay, let's end the live now and goodbye.